Okay, so when the free-to-play Pokemon game came out on the Switch last week, I think it was, I wasn't really sure how to go about reviewing it. Mostly just because I haven't reviewed very many free-to-play games, and none of my free-to-play reviews were very recently. But after playing the game a significant amount, and some thinking on things, I think I finally got it. Here is my review of Pokemon Quest for the Nintendo Switch. Story here is pretty light. The only real story you have is a little cutscene at the very beginning of the game. The premise is that a new island has been discovered with traces of an ancient civilization, and you know what that means. Loot. So you head to the island, wanting all of that awesome loot. As I said, the story is very light. It's not really meant to take center stage. It's just a setup for how gameplay works, and it works out pretty well. As far as gameplay goes, I'm not really sure what to call the game. It's got elements of collecting Pokemon, leveling them up, and party management. It's got some semi-automated dungeon, wave-based combat, and it's got a cooking system. So I'm just going to call it a monster collecting game with some RPG and cooking elements thrown into the mix. The main gist of Pokemon Quest is that you're sending a party of Pokemon into mini dungeons scattered all across the island to fight off waves and waves of enemies until they're all gone, unlocking the next area, but also rewarding you with experience to level up and evolve your party, special power stones that you can equip to your Pokemon to increase their stats, and ingredients so you can cook meals that will attract and recruit new Pokemon. Now these dungeons are pretty interesting and pretty neat. It's got a very casual feel because a lot of it is automated. Your party of Pokemon will run around towards enemies on their own, and there's even an auto feature that lets them use their attacks and abilities on their own. Now you can choose the attacks if you want to, but you have that option of being able to just set it to auto and just watch. With this system the way that it is, the biggest interaction you're actually going to have in the game is party management back at your base. As your Pokemon grow and evolve, and as you collect others, you have to manage a lot of different things. Like who gets what power stones, whether you want to turn on the Evo Stone to prevent them from evolving, and who you want to sacrifice if you want to learn a new move. And that's a system that's very different for a Pokemon game that we should definitely talk about. Whenever you recruit a Pokemon by cooking, they come with 1 or 2 moves, and they do not learn new moves from leveling up. The only way to do that is by training. And every time you go into training, you have to sacrifice Pokemon to increase an RNG percentage for learning that new move. So if you catch an Abra that only knows Teleport, that Abra is pretty useless in battle. So you've got to go into training and choose who that Abra is going to run through and basically kill, for the sake of possibly learning a new move. Now we've got a lot of pretty interesting features here, but being a free-to-play game, there is a big money-based catch. There are a lot of restrictions in this game. First of all, you've got a battery with limited uses, meaning that you can only go on so many expeditions before you have to wait 30 minutes per recharge for the battery. And each time you cook food to recruit a new Pokemon, you're required to go on several expeditions to complete that one food product to recruit one new Pokemon. So if you want to get a big roster of characters to sacrifice for guaranteeing a new move for one of your party members, it's gonna take you a long time. Now of course there's a premium currency built into the game to help speed this process up, which you get 50 of each day. They can be used to buy decorations for your base, or you can spend them to recharge your battery, or speed up the cooking process. Of course, if you run out, you can wait until the next day because they only give you 50 per day, or you can go to the eShop and buy some paid DLC to get large quantities of them. And that's where the freemium model really kicks in. The DLC varies in price. Some of the packs are only about $2.99, but some of the other packs that give you special Pokemon or special stones, $9.99 to $17.99, or a season pass like bundle for $29.99. And that model doesn't really stop there. The pacing is also built into the game to set expectations and try to push you to buying all that DLC. The first half of the game progresses at an incredibly fun and entertaining pace, as long as you're constantly cooking and managing your power stones. You don't have to grind at all for the first 6 areas of the game, but once areas 7 through 10 unlock, that nice steady pace turns into an incredibly slow crawl. Clearing each stage one after another will quickly become clear one stage, grind it out for several battery cycles, and then finally get a stronger Pokemon or get enough Power Stones to be able to tackle the next stage, and then start the process all over again. That's really the point of the game, where you have to change your mindset to, I'm making all of this progress, to, I need to just do things a little at a time and not expect to make progress anytime soon. Especially if you don't want to pay money for the DLC. Now, that doesn't mean the game isn't fun. I love the casual micro play sessions I have in this game. It's just that the pacing is incredibly unbalanced and clearly built to make you want to spend money. That also has an effect on length. There are 12 different dungeon areas in the game, each with several stages. If you played each of the stages once, you'd probably get about 6 to 8 hours out of this game. But throwing in all of the grinding you're going to be doing for the second half of the game, it's going to take a lot longer than that. Now, presentation. I don't really have any problems with it. The design is very interesting. All of the worlds are very colorful and bright. And the blocky design I kind of view as a Pokemon meets Minecraft sort of deal. It does look a little odd in places, but some of the Pokemon just look so funny as random blocks to really hate on it. Now let's get into battery life. Ironically, the game is built for short micro play sessions, but you're going to get a lot of battery time out of it. Here are my times from 100% to 0%. Maximum brightness with Wi-Fi on, 4 hours and 34 minutes. Maximum brightness with the Wi-Fi off, 4 hours and 43 minutes. Lower brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 6 hours and 19 minutes. Lower brightness with the Wi-Fi off, 6 hours and 40 minutes. As I said, ironic that you can only do micro play sessions when this game is going to get you almost 7 hours of battery life. Now, in conclusion, Pokemon Quest is a fun little free-to-play game for anybody who wants to just casually collect Pokemon here and there, off and on throughout the weeks. Unfortunately, the experience is brought down by an incredibly unbalanced pacing tied to a really pushy business model of wanting you to buy DLC. Despite this, the patient gamer will find a fun little Pokemon game for those small casual sessions when you don't want to just power play through games. Reviews to Go rates Pokemon Quest for the Nintendo Switch an 8.5 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below or head to the website at www.reviewstogo.com.